Honorable Caleb Amisi, coming to you on this. When the president was speaking about the matter, he, of course, was responding as a result of the gender bill, which is set to be debated today in Parliament by you and your colleagues. But in general, when the president makes such statement, it registered a 9.8, sort of on the political Richter scale here, because he has been silent about the entire push to change the constitution. Are we going to be addressing issues that affect the common Mwananchi through a referendum without necessarily focusing or turning our attention in particular to an expanded executive, but rather the way you went earlier, that we want ministers to come from within Parliament, we can hold them to account because they are absconding many parliamentary summons, and that all these issues are going to be channeling in one direction, and that's to change the issues that affect negatively the day-to-day affairs of the common Mwananchi, Kenyans in particular.
I think this issue of changing of our constitution, it is something that we must approach it not from an emotional point of view, but in a very sober, nationalistic approach. I want to just challenge my colleagues here. I do not see the reason why we have 47 counties in this country. Because what was the purpose of devolution?
To devolve power, resources?
Yes. And especially to help those counties generate their own resources. Not necessarily waiting for the national government to channel resources down there.
Okay.
A county like Kisumu, Siaya, Homa Bay, why must there be 3 counties? This can be one county to take care of the economy of scale of fishing. Now, when they want to establish a fishing factory, it is easier for a county. But when you fragment into small units and then you give them monies of which is all consumed in recurrent expenditure, employing people.
And salaries.
And that's why you see these counties are not developing. Because they can't develop. A county comes from Trans Nzoia. What can Trans Nzoia develop on its own? Which factory can Trans Nzoia have to help the people? So the essence of fragmenting this country into smaller units was totally wrong. We needed to have just about 15 or so very effective counties. They may not even need national government to come in. They'll generate their own resources very effectively. Now, look at the parliament. You cannot differentiate the nays and the ayes. That's why you see during the VAT bill, people were complaining that the nays were more louder than the ayes. Because this is a chorus, this is a rally. So many people, you cannot even know. In a room like with 50 members, you can easily identify 20 or 30 were the nays. But this is a room of like a rally. You are like Uhuru Park. People are making noise. That's why you can see some members of parliament have never spoken, not because they don't know how to speak English,
but because of time.
But because they don't have time. They can't even get time to speak.
Okay, in saying so, then do you admit that you're overrepresented?
So it is not about looking at one area. You look at the reason of expanded executive. It is just about making this, the many tribes that we have, the many regions that feel that we are not part of this Kenyan leadership.
Okay.
So for us to have a cohesive nation, let us also give them opportunity to show that we are a part of this leadership. Not because you want to create a position for one person, because this person will not be there forever.
Okay.
He's not a person who is not immortal, will not die one day. Are you think?
Okay.
So it's not about a person. It is not for the posterity of this nation. Because how much money do we lose in every election?
Let me just
so it is something that you need to know.
Okay.
We need to change here. But at the same time, we are also changing here to make sure that this country is balanced.
Okay, allow me to pick
so
this
at
call.
the end of the day, you'll also be saving that wage bill you are talking about.
Okay, let me now pick, you'll continue. Let me pick this call from Ezekiel calling us from Embu County. Good morning, Ezekiel.
Good morning, sir.
Morning to you. Habari ya asubuhi?
Nzuri sana.
How is Embu County?
Yeah, I'm from Embu County.
Okay.
And I wanted to contribute on the gender bill.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I believe that the executive is taking, the executive will by passing this bill, the legislature is giving its power to the executive, because when it comes to nomination for members of the members of the National Assembly, the executive will have an upper hand. And therefore, when bills, the oversight role of the executive will not be conducted well, since now the executive will have, the executive will have its own members within the legislature, because we know how political parties already are. They are mostly controlled by members of the executive. And therefore, by taking this, by giving this bill, by passing this bill, the legislature will just be giving its power to the executive. And that is not like, considering also that they are going to earn on the wage bill, and we are telling that we need to reduce that.
Okay, asante sana. Thank you so much, Ezekiel from Embu County. Isaac Wabuge, let me come to you on this. Just carry on from where the Honorable Member of Parliament has left, and to be just brief because of time. He has just fallen short or shy away from saying that we are overrepresented. The same statement was also made on national TV by Mathare constituency Member of Parliament Anthony Oluoch, who said that we are willing to contribute substantively in the House, but because of time, you cannot be allocated more than 5 minutes, and that the leaders of the majority party and the leaders of the minority party only have a special time to contribute. I mean, in terms of listening,
I want to add more.
Okay, and now I'm coming to that. And now coming to that particular point, 416 combined bicameral House, addition of more women if the gender bill says passes today, and likely because of the amount of pressure applied by Kenyatta, Odinga, and Mudavadi and Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Are we going to be likely going in terms of the trajectory? Are we way off the road? Because if an extra number is contributed to Parliament, it means then that even the likely time will be short. So the time frame lessens, you will be confined. So are we going to be having substantive debate in terms of issues that affect the country in the National Assembly?
One fact is that at the moment we have lost the quality of debate in Parliament. Had Martin Shikuku woken up today, they will request to go back, seeing what is happening in Parliament because of the lack of quality in terms of debates. When we look at the women who have been there, like Mutai Chelagat, who used to stand and speak with authority and with bravado, right now we wish to go back because of the kind of poor leadership we are seeing in Kenya and lack of quality when it comes to representation. Now, that's why we are saying that we need to go back on the drawing board. Yes, we have a good constitution, and it's considered the most progressive constitution in the world. However, it has a few issues that we need to change. Okay. The issue of overrepresentation is real. You can realize that even in a simple committee of a house committee that is investigating anything, it becomes chaotic. Why? Because a committee cannot be made of 50 people.
Okay.
As in, it just doesn't make sense. So the issue of overrepresentation is real. It's a high time. That's why we are saying we need to build consensus around this and have specific issues we want to amend. Example, we need to reconsolidate back the former constituencies.
Okay.
So that this one then will mean that then we'll go back to a lesser burden in Parliament. These few members of Parliament will ensure that at least we have, one, good debating in Parliament.
Okay.
Two, the quorum itches that actually it's ironical that even with overrepresentation you still have quorum itches in Parliament. But with a fewer member of Parliament, you are able to track your member of Parliament. Another thing is that something that will also be good for the change is also the recalling clause in Parliament should be made as citizen friendly. But at the same time, I wish then to point out and say that devolution was a masterstroke idea in this country. We need to then come back and say what laws will edify and fortify the devolution that we have in the country.
Okay.
Once devolution has been sorted, when we have the right people, even up to the MCA level, who are able to carry out their legislative and the oversight roles in a proper way, then it will mean that the governors will no longer be demigods that we have today. And therefore, that way, we are going to have better representation. And when devolution works, the issue that Mheshimiwa talked about, that every community feels that they want to have a president, will not be there. Why? Because then we will be able to hold accountable our governor,
Okay.
wherever he is.
Okay.
And by that doing, even as Mheshimiwa said, there's a lot, when we strengthen the devolution laws, there's a lot that even Trans Nzoia as a county can do,
Okay.
as opposed to what Mheshimiwa said,
Okay.
that there's really no much.
Okay, if